the Edmonton Oilers find themselves staring down the barrel of a defining moment, one that could either validate their championship aspirations or expose the glaring weaknesses that have haunted them for years. Connor Ingram, the 28-year-old Saskatchewan native, sits on waivers like a diamond in the rough that 31 teams are eyeing with varying degrees of hunger and desperation. This isn't just another routine roster move or salary cap shuffle. This represents the kind of pivotal decision that separates contending organizations from those that perpetually wonder, what if, when their seasons inevitably fall short of expectations? Stan Bowman's aggressive pursuit of goaltending upgrades has been no secret, and now fate has delivered exactly what the Oilers need, if they're bold enough to seize it. The irony is almost too perfect. Here's a goaltender who posted elite-level statistics just one season ago, now available for the price of a waiver claim because personal struggles derailed what should have been a career-defining campaign. Sometimes the hockey gods present gifts wrapped in complicated packages, and smart organizations recognize opportunities hidden beneath surface-level concerns. Connor Ingram's recent history reads like a cautionary tale about hockey's brutal mental demands, but also serves as a roadmap for potential redemption that could transform both player and franchise. The 2023-24 season showcased everything that makes him an intriguing acquisition target: 50 games played, respectable 23-21-3 record, 2.91 goals against average, .907 save percentage, and 6 shutouts that demonstrated his ability to steal games when his team needed it most. Those numbers don't just represent statistical production, they tell the story of a goaltender who could handle significant workload while maintaining performance levels that many franchises would eagerly embrace as their primary option. 6 shutouts in a season speaks to game-breaking potential, the kind of performance ceiling that can swing playoff series and create championship momentum. But then came last season's nightmare, 22 games filled with struggles, both personal and professional, that saw his numbers crater to a 3.27 GAA and .882 save percentage. 9 wins in 22 appearances tells the story of a player fighting demons that extended far beyond the confines of hockey rinks and statistical spreadsheets. Yet here's where the Oilers' opportunity crystallizes into something approaching destiny. MoneyPuck's advanced analytics reveal that during Ingram's strong 2023-24 campaign, he ranked 13th among all goalies with at least 30 games in goals saved above expected, finishing with an impressive 8.3 GSAx. Compare that to Stuart Skinner's 2.0 GSAx and Calvin Pickard's meager 0.1 GSAx, and the potential impact becomes undeniably clear. Stuart Skinner enters this season as a renewed goaltender, but that description itself reveals the underlying uncertainty plaguing the Oilers' championship aspirations. When your starting goalie needs renewal rather than simple improvement, you're already operating from a position of weakness that championship-caliber teams cannot afford to ignore. The questions surrounding Skinner aren't subtle. Are the off-season changes he implemented enough to deliver bounce-back performance when games matter most? If the honest answer is anything other than an emphatic absolutely, then the Oilers face the kind of goaltending uncertainty that has destroyed countless championship opportunities throughout hockey history. Calvin Pickard, while a reliable backup option, represents depth rather than difference-making potential. His 0.1 GSAx suggests a goaltender who performs at replacement level rather than providing the kind of game-stealing ability that playoff runs often require. Depth is valuable, but championships demand impact players who can rise above ordinary performance when everything is on the line. This is where Ingram's availability becomes almost too good to be true. Here's a goaltender with demonstrated ability to perform at high levels, available at waiver claim prices, while addressing the Oilers' most glaring weakness. Sometimes the hockey universe presents solutions to problems that seemed intractable just days earlier. The brutal mathematics of waiver priority creates additional urgency around this situation. 21 teams sit ahead of Edmonton in the claiming order, meaning any one of those organizations could snatch Ingram before the Oilers get their opportunity. This isn't just about Edmonton's interest, it's about racing against time and hoping that other teams either miss the opportunity or lack the vision to recognize Ingram's potential value. Fantastic Stats reported that sources suggest the Oilers plan to claim Ingram off waivers, but unconfirmed reports carry inherent uncertainty that could leave Edmonton disappointed and searching for alternative solutions. The waiver system's first-come, first-served nature means that good intentions and strategic planning mean nothing without successful execution. The alternative, pursuing a trade to guarantee Ingram's acquisition, represents the safer but more expensive path. Heavy.com's proposed deal involving Matthias Janmark and prospect Matvei Petrov heading to Utah makes financial and strategic sense, shedding salary while addressing goaltending needs and potentially including additional draft compensation to sweeten the package. A 2026 third-round pick might seem like modest additional cost, but it could represent the difference between securing a potential difference-maker and watching him land with a divisional rival who recognized the same opportunity. Sometimes paying slightly more than necessary prevents paying much more in regret later. Edmonton's championship aspirations aren't theoretical. Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl represent generational talents whose prime years create urgency that demands aggressive roster construction. Championship windows with players of his caliber don't remain open indefinitely, regardless of how dominant they might appear in regular season play. The Oilers' playoff history reveals that goaltending inconsistency has repeatedly undermined their championship pursuits, creating the kind of preventable failures that haunt organizations for decades. Adding Ingram wouldn't just improve depth, it could provide the competition an alternative that transforms their entire approach to the most important position in hockey. Competition breeds excellence, and having multiple viable goaltending options allows teams to make decisions based on performance rather than desperation. If Skinner struggles early, having Ingram available prevents the panic moves that often compound problems rather than solving them. Every successful organization eventually faces moments where calculated risks determine their trajectory for years to come. Claiming Ingram represents exactly this type of defining decision. Modest immediate cost with potentially transformative long-term impact that could prove instrumental in championship pursuit. The downside remains relatively minimal. If Ingram fails to recapture his previous form, the Oilers lose little beyond roster flexibility and modest salary cap space. But if he rediscovers the performance level that made him valuable just one season ago, Edmonton could have solved their most pressing weakness at bargain basement prices. The upside scenario is what should drive this decision. Imagine having a goaltender capable of stealing games during playoff runs, providing the kind of backstop reliability that allows offensive superstars to focus on creating rather than compensating for defensive uncertainty. Championship teams need players who rise to occasions rather than shrink from them. Sometimes the best trades are the ones that never require giving up significant assets because smart organizations recognize opportunities when they present themselves through circumstances beyond anyone's control. Ingram's availability represents exactly this type of market inefficiency that championship-caliber teams exploit ruthlessly. The conclusion of this saga arrives within hours. Either Ingram gets claimed, traded, or sent to the AHL, fundamentally altering his availability and Edmonton's options. The Oilers face the kind of crossroads moment where decisive action separates championship contenders from teams that perpetually fall just short of their goals. The rumor mill suggests Edmonton plans to act, but rumors don't guarantee results, and other teams surely recognize the same opportunity that has Oilers management scrambling to position themselves advantageously. This becomes a test of organizational resolve and execution under pressure that could define their entire season before it truly begins. 21 teams sit between Edmonton and guaranteed access to Ingram through waivers, creating the kind of uncertainty that makes decisive action imperative rather than optional. Championship windows demand aggressive pursuit of improvement opportunities, regardless of the complications or competition involved. This story represents more than just roster management. It's about recognizing transformative opportunities when they appear and having the organizational courage to act decisively when stakes are highest. The Oilers' championship dreams might depend on their ability to see past recent struggles and focus on proven potential that could change everything. Are you convinced that Ingram represents the missing piece Edmonton needs to finally break through? Or does his recent struggles suggest the kind of risk that championship contenders should avoid? The clock is ticking, decisions are being made in war rooms across the league, and the Oilers' entire season might hinge on whether they're bold enough to believe in redemption stories and second chances. So tell us in the comments whether you think this is championship-winning strategy or dangerous desperation, because we're dying to know if you see the same transformative potential that has everyone talking.